Let me show you something. In this vial is a tiny birth control device. It's called Essure. Women say this has ruined marriages. It has caused injury and illness, unplanned pregnancy, and unwanted hysterectomy. Let me show you how it works. It's inserted into the fallopian tubes by a doctor where it scars and closes them. It's less invasive than having your tubes tied, and it's less expensive. Over 1 million women have this, but thousands have come forward to say that this device has impacted their lives in ways they never imagined.
We're responsible women. We decided that we were done building our family, and we're being punished for that.
It was actually cheaper for me to do this because my copay was only $10 versus $600.
Easy, cheap, and effective. That's why these women followed their doctor's suggestions to get Essure instead of a traditional tubal ligation. When I met them in 2015, there were only a few dozen women in the online support group. Today, the number is approaching 33,000.
We are still seeing women here 6 years after starting this group that are still having improper removal. The devices are being broken inside of them, they're being stretched out, they're being cut through.
Angie Fermalino started the Essure Problems Facebook group in 2011. She says she wondered if she was the only one suffering debilitating symptoms after receiving her Essure implants. The page now has 18 admins and stacks of research and government documentation, personal testimonies of unintended pregnancy and unwanted hysterectomy, surgical pictures of punctured organs, x-rays, and signs of immune disorders. The women say Essure caused all of these injuries.
We've become a family. We're sisters. We're e-sisters.
Fermalino from New York, Amanda Dykman, and Angela Desa from Marysville were in Sacramento last month for an e-sisters meet and greet. They're constantly touring, researching, and advocating for women with the goal of getting Essure off the market. They've gone to Germany to speak to stockholders for Essure's owner, Bayer.
All of us were injured by it.
They rallied outside gynecological conferences and even traveled to an FDA hearing on Essure last year that resulted in a black box warning. That's the highest level of warning before a device is pulled from the market.
That was kind of satisfying to have that panel of experts be like, what is going on here?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, in my opinion, we definitely didn't win the war, but that was a major victory for us.
I compared the e-sisters to that single drops of water can break down even the hardest stone.
Holly Ennis is an attorney who has just filed a lawsuit in California on behalf of dozens of women who say they were injured by Essure.
Not only are they facing the physical injuries, but they're facing an uphill battle because, like we just talked about, the doctors don't believe them. The insurance companies won't pay for the removal. They get shuffled around to all these different physicians, and they're desperate to have the surgery to have these devices removed.
So what is it about these coils that the women say have caused them so much pain and illness? The stainless steel, rusting and degrading. So you had this device taken to a lab and tested, correct?
Yeah, we had it looked at.
So one of the things that you say is that it's rusting inside people, and then the high nickel content. People weren't warned about that. The Mayo Clinic says nickel is a common allergen and impacts women more than men. A warning the device contained nickel was part of the original packaging for Essure when it was approved in 2002.
In 2011, there was a lot of competition with the Essure from another device called Adiana. Well, when Conceptus found this out, they applied to the FDA to have the nickel contraindication removed from the packaging in the device. And lo and behold, the FDA did it.
The FDA was also not aware of the complaints coming into Conceptus over the device. Complaints like migration into different organs or coils breaking inside of women. In 2010, the FDA did a surprise inspection of Conceptus and found that more than 15,000 reports of injury or illness were never forwarded to the FDA as required.
So they were issued what's called a 483 or a violation, for not disclosing these complaints. So 3 years later, in June of 2013, the FDA went back and made another inspection of the Conceptus facility here in California, and they found another 16,047 additional complaints, and again, less than 200 of these adverse events were forwarded on to the FDA.
That's significant because the FDA relies on companies to forward these adverse event reports. Madrice Tomes used to work for the FDA and now runs a company called Device Events that tracks the adverse reports on medical devices.
One of the things that really stood out for me was the number of adverse events per patient. So typically you have 1 or 2 adverse events that get reported in any given report. But with the Essure patients, typically there are 8 or more adverse side effects that are reported in one report.
I've had a total of 5 different autoimmune diagnoses in the span of 12 years.
Gabriela Avina is one of the most known Essure patients because she was a nurse assisting during clinical trials. She was implanted herself. She testified to the FDA in favor of the device before its approval, and she was on promotional materials for Essure.
I've had lots of medications. I've had chemotherapy. I've had depression. I really lost my identity. I wasn't able to parent like I wanted to. I wasn't able to be a wife like I wanted to be. I wasn't able to be a nurse.
She didn't link her symptoms to Essure until women on the page reached out to her.
I ignored them at first. And I ignored them for several months and several attempts until I finally got a message from one of them saying, I know you don't want to talk to us, that's obvious. Will you just tell us if you're well?
That's all we asked her, are you well? And like I said, it took her a while to come back, but she wasn't well, and she's been through a lot.
Avina says her health improved when she had the coils removed, which typically means a hysterectomy. There is no protocol for removal of Essure as of now, so women who don't have the total hysterectomy can face other complications.
They break, and you don't want to be left with fragments.
Dr. Sean Tassone of Austin has done 250 Essure removals and now counsels women on how to talk to their doctor about removing the devices.
Have them draw you a picture. So if this is the uterus and this is the tube, you want to make sure they're doing a procedure where they're not cutting the tube off right here at the uterus and then just saying they took your tubes off, because there's still a portion that might be inside the uterus here.
Through the protests and the FDA investigations, Bayer, which acquired the Essure device in 2013, has defended it. I asked them for a statement on the lawsuit and claims that the devices are causing illness or injury. This is a portion of their statement. They will vigorously defend the continued availability of Essure, which is an important option for the many women who are seeking permanent contraception. To date, 23 cases in the Essure litigation have been dismissed in their entirety or significantly narrowed, including cases pending in California, federal and state courts. At the center of this is one doctor and one woman trying to make these decisions.
This isn't a life-saving device. This isn't going to improve the quality of somebody's life. This is just a sterilization choice.
The choice to mark their fight permanently on their bodies is a testament to the good they say has come through all they've been through.
We took something, that hurt us and made us angry and turned it into something good and productive and beautiful.
The case currently pending in Alameda County Court is made up of a collection of cases from around the state. Bayer has filed various response motions to the lawsuit and continues to vigorously defend against claims the device causes injury or illness. The court so far has ruled in favor of the E-Sisters on quite a few of these motions, but there are many more turns expected. We will keep you updated on the outcome.